heaven and hell. 2. The Lord is God in heaven. The first essential is to know who the God of heaven is, since everything else depends upon that. Throughout the whole of heaven no other than the Lord alone is acknowledged as the God of heaven. There they declare, as he himself taught, that he is one with the Father, that the Father is in him and he in the Father, that he who sees him sees the Father, and that everything that is holy goes forth from him. John 10, 30, 38, 14, 10, 11, 16, 13-15. I have quite often talked with angels on this matter, and they have constantly declared that in heaven they are unable to distinguish the divine into three, because they know and perceive that the divine is one and that it is one in the Lord. They even said that people who come from this world, from the church, having an idea of three divine beings, cannot be admitted into heaven because their thought wanders from one to another, and it is not allowable there to think of three and say one. This is because everyone in heaven speaks from the thought, for there they have a cogitative speech or thought speaking. Consequently, those who in this world have distinguished the divine into three and have adopted a separate idea of each, and have not made that idea one in the Lord and centered it there, cannot be received. For in heaven, they have a communication of the thoughts of all, so that if anyone came there, thinking of three and saying one, he would immediately be discovered and rejected. It ought to be known, however, that all those who have not separated truth from good, or faith from love, receive, when instructed in the other life, the heavenly idea of the Lord, that he is the God of the universe. It is indeed otherwise with those who have separated faith from life, that is, who have not lived in accordance with the precepts of a true faith. Christians were examined in the other life to see what idea they had of the one God, and it was found that they had an idea of three gods. A divine trinity in the Lord is acknowledged in heaven. 3. Those, within the Church, who have denied the Lord and have acknowledged only the Father, and have confirmed themselves in the faith, are outside heaven, and because no influx from heaven where the Lord alone is worshipped, reaches them, they are gradually deprived of the faculty of thinking what is true about anything at all, and at length they become as though they were dumb, or else they talk stupidly and wander about with their arms dangling and swinging as if lacking strength in their joints. In the same way, those who have denied the divinity of the Lord and, like the Socinians, have acknowledged only his human are outside heaven. They are brought forward a little towards the right, and let down into the deep, and are thus completely separated from the rest of those from the Christian world. Moreover, those who profess belief in an invisible divine which they call the sole sense of the universe, from which all things came into existence, but who reject the faith regarding the Lord, are found to have no belief in any God, since to them this invisible divine is like nature in its first principles, which cannot be an object of faith and love. Not be thought about. Signs such are relegated among those called naturalistic. Things happen in a different manner with those born outside the church and called Gentiles, of whom more will be said in subsequent pages. A divine that cannot be perceived by any idea cannot be received by faith. For all little children, of whom the third part of heaven is formed, are initiated into the acknowledgement and faith that the Lord is their Father, and afterwards that He is the Lord of all, therefore God of heaven and earth. It will be seen in the following pages that little children grow up in the heavens and, by means of cognitions, are perfected even to angelic intelligence and wisdom. 5. Those who are from the Church cannot doubt that the Lord is the God of heaven, for He Himself taught that all things of the Father are His. Matt 11:27, John 16:15, 17, 2, and that all power is given unto Him in heaven and in earth. Matt 28:18. He says in heaven and in earth because He who rules heaven rules the earth also, for the one depends upon the other. To rule heaven and earth means to receive from Him every good pertaining to life and every truth pertaining to faith, thus all intelligence and wisdom, and so all happiness, in short, eternal life. This also the Lord taught when He said, He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, but he that believeth not the Son shall not see life. John 3:36. Again, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he die, yet shall he live, and whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. John 11:25, 26. And again, I am the way, the truth and the life. John 14:6. The entire heaven is the Lord's. He has all power in the heavens and on the earths. As the Lord rules heaven, He rules also all things that depend thereon, thus all things in the world. The Lord alone has power to remove the hells, to withhold from evil and hold in good, and thus to save. 6. There were certain spirits who, while they lived in the world, acknowledged the Father, without having any other idea of the Lord than as of another man, and who therefore did not believe that He was the God of heaven. For this reason they were permitted to wander about and inquire wherever they wished whether there were any other heaven than the Lord's heaven. They searched for several days but nowhere found any. These spirits were amongst such as placed the happiness of heaven in glory and in domination, and because they could not get possession of what they desired and were told that heaven does not consist of such things, they were indignant and wished to have a heaven where they could lord it over others and be eminent in a glory like that in the world. Next, I will post an article that says, "The divine of the Lord makes heaven." Thank you.